Man, I listen to Badu. She got my third eye on fleek, so I keep a third eye on you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, misery bots of all ages. We're back again with another video. This time, we're watching something that Punk basically said about Ed, the new character in Street Fighter 6. Ed, the one that nobody wanted until they seen his new gameplay. That's the Ed we're talking about. And he's doing this interview or just kind of podcast or something with, I forget this guy's name, but he's been in the fighting game community for a while, particularly in regards to Street Fighter. And they're basically talking about what Punk really thinks about Ed in Street Fighter 6. And I have to admit, a lot of the stuff he was saying, I kind of agree with. But before we get into this video, if you like that intro music, definitely check out the Adrian Rockstar SoundCloud in the descriptions below. And let's check out this video. What is Punk saying about Ed? And what is it that he's saying that I agree with?
Is here. We are back again. We got Punk the God in the building. What's good, bro?
How you doing?
I was watching a little bit of your Ed gameplay, and I know you have a lot to say. I'm gonna wait until we get into the nitty gritty of it, but we're gonna talk about the aesthetics of the character. I think that's one of the most coolest things for me personally. How do you feel about his aesthetic so far?
I think Ed looks really cool, honestly. I think he was very well designed in the game. Like, you can tell they put a lot of effort into the character, making his moves, making how he looks, how he moves. Like, everything, I feel like that has to do with him, like, in the game, not like, gameplay wise. I think like he aesthetically just looks amazing. Like, everything is just really nice on Ed.
Like, he really looks like that cool dude, right? Yeah. Honestly, like, I wouldn't mind him being like the cover of the game. Like, that's how cool he was.
Yeah, right? I wouldn't mind if he was like took Luke's spot,
Yeah, just because I thought he was just like super cool, I don't know if it's because he got that edgy look, but whatever. But I gotta say, like, that Alt 2 outfit of him really makes him like me anymore. I think his colors.
Now, I agree. Ed does look better in Street Fighter 6 than he did in Street Fighter 5. I did like the way he looked in Street Fighter 5. The outfit that I particularly liked was his alternate outfit, not his main outfit. His main outfit was garbage. But his alternate outfit, the one where he wore his jacket almost like a cape and he had on like shorts or whatever, that's the outfit I usually played with. And, I had to have that royal purple on, you know what I mean? I had to get that royal purple. And in Street Fighter 6, you see me when I'm playing Ed, I got the royal purple on both his outfits because I do got his main outfit. And then I paid a little bit extra for that alternate outfit that he has with the hoodie and stuff like that. And best believe I'm rocking that royal purple on both of them joints, know what I mean? But yeah, I do agree with that. His outfit and the way he looks is better in Street Fighter 6. I do kind of agree that he should have probably been on the cover. Honestly speaking, I don't think it should have just been Luke. I feel like Luke and Ed probably should have been on the cover because towards the end of Street Fighter 5, they were kind of making it seem like both Ed and Luke were going to be like the future of the Street Fighter franchise in terms of like the whole button inputs that Ed had was really simplistic and was kind of like the presets to what is now known as the modern controllers in Street Fighter 6. His whole story and background and basically kind of started being the replacement for kind of like Bison and Bullrog and taking over Shadowloo and all that stuff. That was all of Ed's story basically. And then you had Luke, who is like this up and comer and who's going to be the new face of Street Fighter and kind of sort of replacing like Ken and Ryu and stuff like that. And then when they finally showed off Street Fighter 6 and it was just Luke in the cover and it was like, well, where the fuck is Ed at? It's like, who the hell is this Jamie guy? Like, where the fuck he come from? Like, why isn't the cover, why isn't Ed Luke's biggest rival in this game? Like, why is it this Jamie guy that just came out of nowhere? Like, I'm not mad at Jamie. Like, Jamie is cool or whatever, but he shouldn't be Luke's rival. They didn't build up to that. It felt more like in Street Fighter 5, it was kind of sort of building up between Ed and Luke. So, yeah, I have to agree with that as well. Like, Ed should probably be in the cover. I would say alongside Luke.
from like colors like 1 to 10 are like fantastic.
Yeah, I only
Yeah.
played the original, the one that it games with. I like that one with the hoodie open. I feel like that one's cool.
Let's talk about the gameplay, man. What is your thoughts right now of Ed's gameplay?
I think he's a very fun character. Like I actually enjoy playing him a lot, and I think I'm gonna continue to play him for a while. Feel like he's maybe not the strongest character for sure. I don't think so from playing him. I feel like I got quite a lot of time into him at this rate. I've been playing him probably for like a week straight. It's probably the longest I played any DLC character in this game. So I think right now he doesn't seem that strong. I feel like he just lacks so much in the like neutral. And he's also kind of slow. Like his walk speed is not very good, especially walking back. And then
So he said a lot there, and I'm gonna touch on a couple of that stuff. For the most part, I agree. Ed's very fun to play. He is really fun to play. I have to admit. I also have to agree that I don't know if he's top tier. I don't think he's top tier. It doesn't feel like he's top tier. I don't think he's bad. I think he's just closer to that mid tier. Like Punk said, like Ed is relatively slow. Now in terms of his walk speed, that's not that big of a deal for me at least, because he has his kill rush and his kill backdash and all that stuff. It's kind of like M. Bison in Street Fighter V, where M. Bison in Street Fighter V has a slow walk, like a terribly slow walk, but his dash was amazing. Like he had the best dash in the game for Street Fighter V. You feel me? So, and I feel like Ed kind of inherit that, which makes sense due to the fact that he has the cycle power. He's basically he has Bison's power and stuff like that. So it makes sense that his speed may not be that great, but his dash and his kill rush and all that stuff makes him, faster and easier to get in on you and stuff like that. So, because the way I see kill rush, it's kind of like a free drive rush basically without using any meter.
and on top of that, all his buttons are kind of very slow startup. So
That is another thing. Yes, a lot of his buttons are slow startup. That's kind of a carry on from Street Fighter V, where a lot of his buttons were relatively slow in Street Fighter V, and that kind of carried on to this. For a boxer, you would assume that his buttons would be faster, and it's not. Unfortunately, like his jab is, for the range his jab has, I would have liked it to be maybe at least a frame or two faster, because his jab doesn't have no range on it. His light punch is basically what I'm saying. Doesn't really have any range on it. So with it not really having any range, one way to compensate for that, for it not having any range, is to decrease the frame. So instead of it being like a 4-frame move, make it like a 3-frame move.
even when you want to throw out his buttons, people just you just take the risk of always getting jumped in on. No matter what you're doing with Ed, he's usually taking a risk of someone being able to jump. I feel like his fireball doesn't really help like in zoning wars. I feel like he can't really fight characters with fireballs. So if you pick a character that actually has a fireball, I feel like the character just kind of can't do much. Like,
And that's kind of how it was in Street Fighter V. Like, a lot of Ed's moves were pretty slow. You feel me? He had the charge up punch, which he still has in this game. He had basically the same fireball that he had in Street Fighter V. He has the snatcher that he had in Street Fighter V, and a lot of that stuff tends to have a lot of startup. His EX uppercut, just his regular uppercut, just tends to have like a lot of startup and stuff like that. So yeah, in terms of his attack speeds, he is relatively slow, especially with a lot of his supers. They tend to have like a lot of startup time on them. Him being completely bad against zoners, not 100% sure about that, because you have this fireball that can deal with zoners, and yes, that can be difficult to get the timing right on that. But you also have like his snatcher that will stop a projectile, and if you charge it up all the way, if you EX it, I believe it actually goes through projectiles. And then you have like that punch, although it does take a minute to charge up that punch, but that punch can actually go through projectiles. I don't think it went through projectiles in Street Fighter V, but in this game it actually goes through projectiles and stuff like that. So he has several tools and if you time the like EX uppercut, I think that will actually go through a projectile as well. So he does have several tools to deal with projectiles in this game. It's just they're not great. They're not great.
You can
And Ed is very susceptible to jump ins because his anti-airs are not really that reliable.
fireball. You can do the fireball back, like to nullify it, but they just going to shoot their second fireball with your second fireball, and you just back to square one. But eventually, they can kind of get in range where they can whiff punish the startup of you trying to do the fireball on startup. So I feel like that's just it just makes it hard to fight characters that actually has a projectile with Ed.
You know, I feel like they dropped the ball, and jump on this if you feel, but I feel like they dropped the ball for like his kill rush to not go under fireballs. I felt like with that, how that move looks, and like, you know, kind of like that boxer, I would think that he would be able to duck under those projectiles.
That's the 2 kick button move, right?
Yeah.
Dude, if Kill Rush went through projectiles, that'd be really similar to like Bison's dash in Street Fighter 5, which that would be awesome for a head player, but that would make him really strong, because that was one of the things that made Bison really strong, that he can literally just dash through your projectile and then keep pressuring you. You couldn't get that man off of you. You feel me? You couldn't get Bison off of you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be kind of too good, though. They would have to at least make it an input. I feel like if they were going to make it go through fireballs, no way they would let it be the 2 kicks and it going through the fireballs.
Why not, Punk? Why not? They did it with Bison. Bison's move was just a dash. All you had to do was tap forward twice in rapid succession. And if it was well timed, he was dashing right through a fireball and in your face, giving you those hands. So, I mean, Ed needs that, man. Ed needs that. But I agree. That would make him, holy shit, that would make him so strong.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You know, I thought they were trying to bring back the V skill buddy, you know?
Yeah, no, that would have been crazy easy to react with.
Yeah, you know, maybe give it some projectile info under like frame 6, probably. You know, some at least from like far distance, right? But you know, I think what I would like a little bit more from him too is that I feel like for a boxer, you know, I feel like his up close game is really not that strong. You know, I was expecting a little bit more out of him, especially being like that type of boxer, right? So I feel like honestly his biggest strength is like his mid range, but a lot of good characters also have great mid range. So it really feels like he's like okay.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about the jabs. Like his up close game is really, really bad. It's very hard to even get a jab combo with him, since you can't cancel his crouching jabs, and they're also -5 on block.
Bro,
so,
why is his crouching jab -5 on block?
Yeah, I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, they basically made Ed like a mid-range fighter in this game, which is fine by me because that tends to fit my particular play style. If you look at a lot of characters I tend to play, like Manon, Frost in MK11, Tanya in MK1, Vega in Street Fighter 5. So yeah, so that fits my particular play style. Like I don't mind, you know, the mid-range or whatever. But they that's what they did. It would be nice if him as a boxer would have close range options. So
on top of that, when they do hit, most times the stand jab whiff, so you can't get the combo to actually work. So you just end up kind of just lost when you up close. So your defense is really bad since the DP is slow, and they can still do a meaty and block in time. And then the crouching jab isn't that good for defense because you don't really get much out of it. Like, it's just a big risk, but it's no real reward at all. So I feel like up close, he can't really fight. Once you get in on Ed or you make him start guessing, he really just can't test you at all.
He just loses his boxing skills.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty crazy. And, you know, I think another thing that's really bad, too, is that, you know, talking about, like, some of the things that, like you said, you can just meaty with him if he uppercut, but also his level 1. You can also meaty jab and it also beats the super. So his level 1 super. So I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, for a character that has like all these like cool like aesthetics, you know, like that boxing style, I feel like when it's time to box, he's not there. You know?
I don't think so either. It's so
It kind of sucks that Ed's level 1 super doesn't go through projectiles. I have the same issue with Manon, that her level 1 super doesn't go through projectiles.
It's very weird, honestly. I don't know why he's like a boxer, but they don't want to let him fight up close. I understand they wanted to make his mid range a bit better, but like the mid range is okay. But I feel like even the reward from it is just not high. Like nothing Ed does a ton of damage unless you spend like a level 3 or a level 2. His regular combos don't really do that much damage. So the neutral is just kind of whatever with him, because you know, even if he does get the hit, he doesn't do too much damage, while most characters who's hitting him are going to do quite a lot of damage in the mid range. So
I agree with that. That's one of the things I noticed with Ed. Ed has like a lot of moves and stuff like that to open you up from the mid range and from the footsie area, but he doesn't get a lot of damage. Now, it's possible that, I mean, somebody like myself is just not optimizing him very well, which I'm pretty sure I'm not. But I mean, you hear somebody like Punk says that he's not getting a lot of damage out of it, and it's like, well, damn, this is Punk. We're talking about one of the best Street Fighter players in the world, and he's having I don't know if he's having trouble optimizing with Ed, but he's not getting the damage with Ed in real life situations. You feel me? Now, I've seen people in like practice mode and stuff like that, you know, be able to do some serious damage, but there's practice mode and then there's real life scenarios, and it's just one of those situations like, yeah, you can practice the most optimal combo in the world in practice mode, but what's the likelihood of you being able to execute that in a match? I mean, a lot of the times it's highly unlikely. So a lot of the times you may have to settle for a combo that does less damage, that is far more reliable to execute inside of a match.
it just makes playing him scary. And on top of just when you press a button with Ed, you might get jumped in on all the time, or a lot of things you can drive impact with his, like his special moves. You can drive impact a lot, and then you end up having to bait with like the backdash. And then I feel like if you bait is not good, you just push yourself closer towards the corner for them faster. So you just end up seeing yourself in the corner when you do go for the baits with Ed and they don't actually work out.
I feel like for Stan Heavy Punch, for him to like have to fully charge to go to projectiles is really bad. You know, I think getting into like the full, like that max charge where he can like at least do the follow up should have some type of projectile input. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 120 frames for the fully charged, if I'm not mistaken.
I agree. That charge up punch is really slow, dude. You can see him charging that shit up from a decade away. Like you can see him charging that punch up from the next country, dog. Like that dude, that punch is that. If you get hit with that punch, you were just being dumb. You were just being stupid, foolish, silly, and stuff like that. Or you just tried to do something cheeky like jump at the right moment to then punish him on his recovery frame, because it that punch takes forever, and it's not something you can do close, because if you're too close, I mean, you're just gonna get opened up and get a lot of damage. So it's something you have to do from relatively good distance, and if you're doing it from that distance, they're going to be able to react. So I mean, a lot of the times it's so hard to hit people with that charge up punch. And what you said, 100 and something frames? Jesus Christ. Like, that startup punch is crazy long.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
Yeah, like, bro, like, Guile's going to throw like 5 booms by that guy, you know? So, I just think a lot of things that allow him to get around fireballs are not really good. Like, it's really hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's super expensive versus it's just cheap for them.
I don't really know what type of character he was supposed to exactly be in this game, because he just not really excel at anything. And I think his jumping is very bad. There's a lot of times if somebody press a crouching button, most times his jumping will just whiff a lot if you do jumping heavy punch. So you got to start, I guess, trying to use jumping light kick. I don't know, but also his cross up is very bad. Like, I'd rather them just not gave him a cross up since he a boxer, because his cross up is really bad. It whiffs quite often and end up getting punished even when you're very close to them. So I feel like they definitely gonna have to change his cross up a bit if they actually wanted to give him one. And yeah, I don't know, bro. This character, he's very fun. I don't know. Like, I want to keep playing him, but
I mean, he's definitely right about that cross up. That cross up is really difficult to hit because of the angle that it has. It's really hard. If they move just a little bit, you're gonna whiff your cross up. Ed had a cross up in Street Fighter V, if I'm not mistaken. It was the jump medium kick, and it was far better. But they didn't want him to have any kicks, so they had to come up with a better way to be able to cross up with Ed. But it's not a really good cross up, unfortunately.
he just don't seem like he got a great future. But there's still an update going to come, so maybe they just wanted to throw Ed out there right now, and they just got some big changes for him during the big update, whenever that is.
So let me ask you this: do you think Ed is easy to play?
No, I don't think he's very easy to play.
I agree. Ed is very difficult to play. A lot of his moves and stuff like that are extremely situational. Certain hits are extremely situational. So depending on how you hit them, you may have to do a completely different combo than what you were originally planning. You have to switch up on the fly like that. You just got to be ready for everything.
I think you gotta be a very defensive kind of player. A lot of people don't really like to play defensive anymore. Like,
I could agree with that because he's more footsies based. He's not somebody that you're gonna really rush down with. So, and I agree with that. But I'm a defensive kind of character, even though I suck when it comes to blocking. But yeah.
Ed doesn't really have
we throw that out the window. Everybody trying to box.
Yeah, he doesn't have a very strong offense, right? And his drive rush also isn't very good. So it doesn't really travel fast, and it doesn't go far at all. So it got.
Yes, his drive. I mean, I played Manon, and Manon didn't have a really good drive rush. I think they kind of buffed it a little bit with this most recent patch, but Manon didn't have a good drive rush, and I feel like Ed's drive rush is along the lines of a Manon, whose drive rush was considered pretty bad. So yeah, I agree with that. But me personally, I don't typically do the drive rush really often with Ed. I tend to default more to his kill rush because I feel like that's what the Capcom developers who made Street Fighter 6 wants us to do with Ed. I think that's how they really want us to play with Ed, and they want us to utilize that kill rush. So they made the kill rush pretty good.
Big nose on a drive rush that you don't want. So his drive rush is pretty bad on top of just not. I don't know. He's just not really a character that can start offense just out of nowhere. It takes a lot of patience and waiting for your moment. And I feel like that's just not a strategy that's very common these days. And it's just you taking a risk everything you do. So you got to really, be able to take being punished heavy if you're going to make a mistake with him. Because a lot of times when someone do punish something you're doing, it's going to be a bigger punish, from a jump in or a drop impact, something like that. So you're going to have to be able to willing to live through those and just be able to come back in those big mistakes.
It's unfortunate that style of play is not a common thing, because I think it's one of the most coolest things to watch. Because when you watch it, you never know what's going to happen. What is the players thinking, right? And being able to kind of see those puzzles that he's setting in place, it's really cool to watch. But with that being said, that means that nobody's going to play this guy. With that all being said, nobody trying to put the puzzles together. They just try to press enter, hit the buttons,
and that's how I kind of felt. Yes, Ed is a really technical character. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to drop him. As of right now, there's still a shit ton of people playing Ed, and it's because he is a fun character to play. People want to get good with him, but eventually people are going to end up dropping him. I could definitely see that happening even more so when Akuma comes out. But people are going to drop. He's just a really difficult character to learn, similar to Chun-Li. Chun-Li is one of the most popular female characters in Street Fighter. But you don't see a lot of people playing her, especially in Street Fighter 6, because she is a more difficult character to learn. But she's a more difficult character to learn. and she is fun. She's not as fun to play with as Ed though. So, but yeah, as of right now though, there's still a shit ton of people playing Ed though.
Unfortunately, that's what it is. But overall, I'm glad he's just like a cool character, right?
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this, man: is Ed more fun than he was in Street Fighter V? Personally, for me, I thought Street Fighter V was so lame.
I actually was a big fan of Ed in Street Fighter V. Like,
Yes,
the only
sir.
reason
Me
I didn't
too.
like to play him was because you couldn't really whiff punish with him, so I didn't like.
That was my thing.
Yeah, I didn't really like that he can't really whiff punish into anything. You could do maybe sweep or just a button. Like, if you do like button into special move, a lot of times it would just whiff and you just get punished. So I definitely didn't like that part about Ed, but I think his moves were cool. Like, they should have kept like the rising up kick into the down punch. I feel like that was a
I'm
cool
surprised they
anti-air.
took that.
They should have kept that as an
that was-
anti-air.
That was so cool, actually. I forgot all about that move, and I was
Yeah. And, I mean, in Street Fighter 5, Ed, I felt was far more close range. He didn't really have much of a mid-range game at all. He had a lot of stubby attacks and stuff like that. I think outside of his charging punch and his snatcher or whatever, the only move like normal that he had that had any sort of range on it was his like heavy kick, his heavy kick, basically, where he just kind of like twirls and throws out a kick, which can crush counter, and then you can get in, kind of dash in and do a combo and stuff like that. But it was pretty slow. It was easy to get hit out of. It's not something you wanted to do while up close and personal, which was the majority of his game plan. Like, Ed needed to be up close and personal in that particular game. He didn't really have much of a mid-range game at all, and that's probably why Capcom focused so hard on his mid-range game in this particular game, because he didn't really have much of a mid-range game at all. I mean, Punk said it himself, like, he was really hard to whiff punish with because he had a lot of stubby normals. The other thing too, and then the one normal that he did have that had range was really slow, which was that heavy kick. And then when you would punish or whatever, if you was able to get a whiff punish, a lot of his combos would go into that up kick, which was a really good anti-air as well too. And an anti-air you can actually combo from. A lot of the times that kick would whiff. Like, that kick would just completely whiff, and that'd be so infuriating because now you're up in the air and they have all day to punish you. They can go get a coffee from Dunkin' Donuts, come back, and then still be able to punish you when you hit the floor, bro. Because there was nothing you can do. You were just up there. It's like when somebody blocks a Shoryuken or somebody whiffs a Shoryuken, you have all day to punish them, and that's how it was with Ed in Street Fighter V. So that was really, really frustrating that a lot of the times it would whiff. And they just never fixed that either. They never fixed that. It's not like how in Manon's level 2, where sometimes the first hit of the level 2 would hit and then the rest of the move would whiff. And then this recent patch, they kind of fixed that. They never fixed that with Ed. Like, if he hits you, sometimes the kick would hit, but it'll hit in an angle where the enemy would just fall too fast and Ed's still rising up in the air. And then by the time he gets down, they're already up punishing him. So it was really infuriating. But they got rid of it because they got rid of kicks. It would have been nice if he had something similar to that in this particular game. Maybe with like a psycho upper punch or something like that, where he kind of goes up in the air, but it has more range. Maybe he used the snatcher instead. Something with his snatcher that did that. So that would be pretty cool.
was like a two, but that was like the
the two kicks. Yeah,
that was super dope. My biggest issue was I felt like every time I was playing him, I just had to do like the 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like his thing. And then like if they jump, kick them, and then like slam them down, right?
Yeah.
I like 6 a lot only because I'm really a big fan of like the flickers. Like I like how they did his kicks in this game. I think how they did his kicks are like some of the coolest things ever.
Yeah.
Despite not being the strongest in terms of like, everything else, aesthetically it's like really cool. It reminds me of like that Steve Fox from Cross Tekken a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I think too. It's definitely very similar to Steve Fox. I like Ed. I honestly like him more probably in 6 though. I think like he's just more fun. Like I don't know what it is about him. He's not as strong as he was like towards the end of 5, but like he's just extremely fun in this game. And
he feels rewarding.
Yeah, he do. Like
despite
when you
the
win with
reward
him,
he
you do
gives
feel
you,
really good.
Yeah, you know, like the fact that you got your kill rush timing. Like the follow ups, you could change the follow ups until like the other the delay at the later frame or the early frame. Like those little things like that feels really nice. And like when you land at level 2, it feels really good too. And when you finally do damage, it also feels good. It feels really nice. We all know Ed is not probably the best in terms of tier wise, but definitely one of the coolest characters that they announced. I think he's more cooler than Rashid and Aki personally. And I thought Aki was cool, but I actually think like Ed, I was like, damn, they did him good.
Yeah.
The trailer, I was a little concerned, but like after seeing the gameplay and like them giving us like the little breakdown video for Capcom, kudos to Capcom, ended up really good. So thank you so much for coming in here, man.
No problem, bro.
Yeah, and where can they find you, bro?
So that's the end of the video, and I have to say, like, I basically agree with damn near everything Punk says. Like, everything he says is basically how I've been feeling about Ed, and it's crazy. Like, it's crazy because Punk is one of the best Street Fighter characters ever, and it's just like everything I was thinking and feeling about this character, which is a really fun character. I enjoy playing him. I think I'm gonna continue playing him and basically making it my main until him and Manan, make them both my main until maybe Vega eventually comes to the game or whatever. And yeah, I mean, he seems like a decent character. I originally thought he might have been top tier, but after playing him, he I don't think he's top tier anymore, but I do think he is at least mid tier. I don't think he's trash. I don't think he's garbage tier or nothing like that. He just seems mid tier, but who knows? He could be like upper mid tier, which I'm wanting to lean more to him maybe being an upper mid tier character because he's so complicated and complex to play. There could be ways to better optimize him in terms of gameplay that we just haven't discovered yet. So yeah, that's basically the end of the video. I mean, I agree with Punk. Like, I agree with Punk in the majority of what he says, from his design, Ed's design, his cosmetics, how he looks. I think he looks better in this game. I'm with Punk in the sense that I like this particular outfit better that he's wearing, the one with like the hoodie and the pants with the hoodie open and stuff like that. Punk wears pink. I personally wear the purple version of it, but yeah, I like the cosmetics. I liked his movesets and how he plays and stuff like that. I agree that his rush down is weak in this game. I agree that he's more of a footsie based mid-range kind of character. I agree that his anti-airs are not all that great. I mean, I agree. So if you like this video, if you agree with Punk, if you agree with me, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And check out the Adrian Rockstar SoundCloud in the descriptions below.
Boys in the hood with big dreams of being superstars. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't, but you gotta work super hard.